Hamakavi Barzel presents Rabbi Nachum Shifren, Torah scholar, author, public speaker, and good friend of the late Rabbi Meir Kahana.
Well, good evening and greetings to all those that are viewing us. Obviously, it's a very special night tonight. No need to go into detail, although we could. It's very interesting how history is, and as we know, those that forget their history are doomed to repeat it. You know, one of the things that we as Jews don't like to talk about, which I'm going to talk about, because one of the things that has bothered us for the last couple thousand years is those people that they're called Erev Rav. Moses decided, he made a decision that when the Jews came out of Egypt, there were some people there that wanted to join the Jewish people, thinking that, you know what, these guys are pretty lucky. God's given them an amazing victory over Pharaoh and his army, and now the Red Sea is divided, and all these miracles are occurring. So they thought, you know what, let's hop around, let's join the crowd. Well, we've suffered. It says in the Gemara that the Jewish people have suffered greatly from these people. We see this time and time again. I have stated, of course, I'm a nobody, but it seems to me there's been some books that have been written. From one, by Ben Hecht, about the Shoah, about the Holocaust and whatnot. And the point that I'm trying to make is there's no way you can murder 6 million human beings without help on the inside. I know this sounds crazy to some people. And I don't believe for a minute that the Shabak, Shirutei Bitachon Klalim, the Secret Service in Israel, they know everything that's going on. They know people whispering behind a door 1,000 miles away, they can pick it up. There's nothing that they don't know. They can listen right now to me, and if they don't like it, they can jail me when I come to Israel, which happened once. But this whole thing with October 7th, I don't believe that these guys rode across the border with bicycles and skateboards and kites, if you get my drift. So it's a difficult history with the Jewish people. Now, regarding Iran, they cannot exist while there's Jews praying to God. If there's one Jew praying to God, that it bothers them. Why? Because it completely contradicts their insane, murderous, beliefs. You notice that when they pray, their backsides are facing their quote unquote holy site, which is on top of the Beit HaMikdash. The only reason that they're there is to show domination over the Jews. That's why that was put there. There's nothing holy about Al-Quds, about Jerusalem for Muslims. So we're in a situation now where this problem has festered for 50, 60, 70 years. Israelis are wont to just ignore things, thinking that, they won't do this or they won't do that. They've spent tens of billions of dollars building tunnels and rockets. Meanwhile, their people, 80% of the people in Iran are hungry. And it's a pretty tragic situation for those people that are innocent, that have done no wrong. But like we know, when the Allies were dropping bombs over Germany, they weren't dropping bombs over Nazis. They were dropping bombs over the German people. And unfortunately, this is the way of war. But this murderous regime saw fit to spend billions, tens of billions that we gave them. The insane people in the West gave them. They funneled them billions of dollars, and they used it to produce murderous items and weapons and whatnot. But we did it. And they know that we have a lot of useful idiots like Obama and Biden who funneled them billions of dollars. without checking their atomic energy situation. So right now, the way it goes is the Jewish people are under lock and key right now. Everybody's in their basement. And one thing I can tell you that we've learned time and time again from Pharaoh to Babel, the Tower of Babel, to Noah, to Abraham, all those evil people that tried to rise up and vanquish us, they, of course, were destroyed. And these people will be destroyed as well. The question is, at what cost? And we shall see what happens. So I say these things with a heavy heart because, one of the things that Rav Kahana taught us that Sonaich u'machivaich mikem yitzeu. Those people that hate and want to destroy, they will come from our midst. It's as though we don't have to worry about enemies from the outside. We have enough inside. And it pains me to see good boys who were trained and were professionals and were sent in there into that hellhole and died, and we're still fighting them. I don't know if World War II lasted as long as it has with this thing with Gaza. When we see Jews giving tons of food and gasoline and diapers and Neosporin and whatever else to the enemy, these are our enemies. They supported the Hamas by 85%. The Hamas represents them. And this thing should have been over on October 8th. And all those young soldiers have died now. It's a Chilul Hashem desecration. And will there be a price paid? I don't know. I was alive when the Yom Kippur War was fought. And they knew that there was going to be an attack by the Egyptians and the Syrians, but they did nothing. Why? What will the Gentiles say if they have a preemptive attack? This is always the thinking of the Israeli government. What will the Gentiles say? What will he do? Never mind about God, never mind the creator of heaven and earth, never mind the reason that the Jews are in Israel to begin with. That's not an issue. It's what will the Gentiles think and say. And of course, we have our own enemies here and abroad of our own people that are fueling the fires of anti-Semitism and anti-Jew hatred and whatnot. George Soros being at the top of it. So we have a very big challenge, and we will survive. The Jewish people have a covenant with God. Nothing can get rid of that. But it's terrible that we have to go through these things. This week's chapter of BEHA'ALOTECHA, all the heads of the tribes of the Jewish people brought things for the temple once the temple was created, or I should say the Mishkan, which was the substitute for the temple. Gold, silver, diamonds, whatever it was, to embellish and beautify the temple. And in the end, Aaron, the Kohen, Aaron, the high priest, he felt not right. He said that he and his tribe were not given such great things as giving donations for the new temple. So God said to him, "No, yours is going to be the best. Yours is the light. You're going to light the candles. You and your seed will light the candles, and that light represents so much symbolically in the Jewish people. Light, of course, or comes from the word Torah. Torah meaning or, meaning light among the nations, light among the Jewish people, a whole way of life, and the light that they lit was symbolic of all the things that make the temple great and the service in the temple great. So Aaron was, but beyond that, Aaron was the tikkun, the correction factor for Adam and Eve. It says in the Kabbalah and the Chassidut, all of the different sources in literature, that Aaron was juxtaposed to Adam, who destroyed the Garden of Eden, who by his actions, and sent the Jews to an exile permanently until, of course, they came back into the land of Israel. But Aaron was the correcting factor for all that, and the temple was consecrated with his lighting the candles. Basically, those candles are very symbolic of an eternal light, eternal learning, eternal reverence for God, and all that entails. So that's what we're talking about on this week's Torah portion. All the different things that were given to the temple, all the different donations from the different heads of the tribes and whatnot, and it was a magnificent day when all these things were concluded. I can say that personally, I plan in the next 2 weeks to have a culmination of learning that I started 7 years ago, probably more, of learning the entire Talmud in the Mishnah. There's 2 parts, of course. There's the Mishnah and then the Gemara. I learned the entire Mishnah, and I will celebrate that, and I'll talk about it a little bit in the next week or so. And it's funny that God knew that the temple would be destroyed. He's omnipotent, omnipresent, omnipotent, and sees everything, understands exactly what's going to be, and when the Messianic era will come in. So what did he do? He created the Torah so that we'll have it wherever we go, whether it's in the Philippines, whether it's in Uganda, wherever a Jew is, he can learn and be completely connected to God through the Torah. Even though there's no temple, we say that God never is further than 4 cubits away from people that are learning the Torah, and that's what we actually believe. Anyway, without going further, I can just say that this is going to be a very pivotal point in Jewish history. We'll remember this for a long time, and we can only hope and pray that good things will happen. Ultimately, God's will be performed, and the Jewish people will continue on. They're an eternal people, just as God is eternal, and that is our great hope. God bless everybody. Shabbat Shalom, and let's hear good news very soon.